Mom, how old was she when she was told that she was blind in that one eye?
Oh my, she was about 30.
She never drove a car, right?
Huh?
She never drove a car.
No. But my dad, she, you know, told him what kind of car she wanted to buy him, and she bought a Pontiac. And then he didn't know how to drive, and nobody taught him either. So we were at Wishington Park, and at that time they didn't have a gate, a fence. We could have went down over that hill. Then my dad was a good driver, though, you know. And he worked for the power company, West Bend Power. And he was a good salesman. You know, he worked for Reichert's furniture store. They only gave him, one time he got a check for 25 cents. You know, they don't appreciate sales. But they wanted to make him a manager down there, but he had that accent so bad. He kept it all that time, you know.
Hey, Mom, did I ever ask you to tell the story on the video about that time that you were in your house and a man came to the door and he wanted to come in and you told him, get out of here?
He said, but I'm your dad's boss. I said, I don't care who you are. Get the hell out of here. I said that's a swear word, you know.
Oh, you did?
I was so sick. I was home from school and I wasn't feeling good at all. I just had a virus. And I couldn't eat or anything, you know. But my mother was uptown shopping. But he said, I'm your dad's boss. I think I remember his name. I'm forgetting a lot of stuff. Because I'm here by myself, and when I woke up yesterday, I wasn't myself, I'll tell you. I was really, you know, Kara said I should come out here and read a book. How can you read a book and I have to have glasses? I can't even see.
Hey, what about that story? This is another one you told often about when you got your first period.
Oh, yeah.
And you didn't know anything, nothing about, you didn't know what was wrong.
Well, I got up to get ready for school, and we had our basement, our bathroom downstairs. So I come down the steps and went to the bathroom, and I was bleeding, you know, and then I said, what? I don't know what that was. And here Carmel's mother says that I know all about periods and stuff like that. So she broke us up. You know, that was the sad thing. She wasn't a very nice woman, Carmel's mother.
But you didn't know anything.
And so I went upstairs and I knelt down on the side of my mother's bed. And I said, there's something wrong with me. You know. So my mother gets dressed and goes uptown and gets one of them belts. You know, you put it around your stomach and have that piece hanging down, and then you fasten the Kotex. And then I had to go to school. I could have stayed home. And then I was praying that sister would call on me. Oh my God. I got up and I could just feel that blood coming out. Oh my God. But I had a bush rag on. you know,
Before she came
before
home.
she came home at lunchtime and brought the Kotex.
What we women have gone through.
And that, I have a towel in the bathroom, and it's like a square like that. And every time I get one out of there to dry my hands on, I always think of that.
That rag.
That rag.
You talked about that rag in the bathroom reminding you of that rag that you had to wear that first day.
I had to go to school. I'm lucky I didn't have a problem, like leaking all over my. Well, you have the skirt on and slip on and panties. Like Kara tells me, you don't need to put the panties.
Well, just like that piece of rag reminds you, are there other things you see around the house these days and it sparks a memory about something of the past?
I know. I have these hand towels. I like to use them. Sometimes I use a wash rag because they're kind of thick and I don't like them thick ones. And I think of that all the time when I take out that towel out.
Mm-hmm. You think about that rag. Mm-hmm.
But Mrs. Grieco didn't know anything about that, So I mean, right there, it could have saved our friendship.
Mm-hmm.
Because, what's her name? Carmel Russo lived down the street. And she liked to come with me, We would walk down the street and up the street. And she says, I want to know about sex.
She told you this.
Yeah. And I said, I don't know anything about sex.
So how did you learn about sex?
I didn't know. I didn't know nothing.
Well, what did your mother say to you about the blood?
Oh, she told me every time I get a pepper, a green pepper, and there's another pepper growing inside that, and then she was telling me that that's the way our bodies are. I mean, she was pretty smart. Who told her?
Yeah, who did tell her?
Yeah, so every time I see a pepper and I'm cutting it up, I think about that.
Well, when she was growing up with her grandfather's wife, did that woman tell her about the birds and the bees?
No.
Well, how did she learn?
I don't know. Well, they had those boarders. I don't think it was guys, but it's like a dangerous situation, and she's just like, maybe she did like my dad, Who knows? But she's just hanging on that stairway,
She was. The stairway in their house.
Yeah, the stairway. As soon as you go in McNana's house, they have a stairway upstairs.
Oh, that's the house that she lived in. Oh, I see, because that's Magnetta's house.
Yeah.
Okay. And the grandparents lived with Michael Magnetta and Giovanna.
Yeah, they had a bedroom and she cooked all the time, that lady.
So you mean your...
But Giovanna. She was sickly. Well, she had all them kids.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I don't know. I didn't know her too well. She just was a beautiful woman.
Mm-hmm. And when you're talking about the stairway, your mother hanging on the stairway, you mean where your father was staying.
Yeah, he would come in and she'd be hanging around.
Is that what he said, or that's what you heard?
No, I just was assuming that that's what her. Maybe she was thinking. Oh, they could run away.
Mm-hmm.
Or some men are so dumb,
Did your mother and father tell you stories about themselves when you were growing up?
They were busy all the time,
I know your mother would tell that story about remembering back in Italy running on the street.
Yeah, she'd always go down there to. Her dad would have a little thing, and he would sell stuff, vegetables, and she'd run down there and be with him.
Mm-hmm.
But he was like a Mameluke.
Mm-hmm.
He never came to this country. But her mother just gallivanting all over the place. She had all these kids. She had 14 pregnancy. They told us that
Mm-hmm.
when we were in that kitchen.
Mm-hmm.
And she had 7 died and 7 lives.
And she came here twice. Mm-hmm. They said she was a tough woman.
Yeah, but she was having a good time. She wanted she left her mother here, my mother here, and she didn't want to leave Uncle Lawrence here. But when he was 19 years old, he came over here by himself.
Mm-hmm.
He was on a ship down in the basement. That'd be horrible.
Mm-hmm. And your grandmother brought your mother's younger brother over, Pasquale. That's Antonietta's father. But their grandfather, your great grandfather, said they would keep your mother. She wouldn't be any trouble, but they didn't want the boy. Remember?
Yeah.
And so then your grandmother went back with Pasquale. That was his name.
No, she never went back with him.
Didn't she come over with the baby, or was she just pregnant?
Oh, she probably was pregnant with another baby. But I thought that my mother was left here when she was like 6 years old, but she wasn't. She was much younger.
No, I think she was born in 1905, and I think she came here in 1910, 1911.
So she was about 5 years old.
She's about 5 years old.
And she missed her mother.
Her mother went back, and then didn't her mother come back? Her mother went back to Italy. Then she came back to Washington. She had another kid with her. That was the second born, Pasquale.
Yeah.
And then the grandfather, Lorenzo, said, no, we'll keep Caterina, but not Pasquale.
Yeah.
So Antonietta's father was here when he was a baby.
Well, Uncle Lawrence came when he was about 17.
Mm-hmm.
He was 17. He came over alone.
Right, but he's much younger than your mom.
Yeah.
So it's her, and then Pasquale, and then I think Maria, and then the other kids. So Pasquale, who's Antonietta's father, was the second born. Your mother was the firstborn.
Well, she was busy
Right.
with all these kids.
Well, but when she brought your mother over here, that was the only kid she had.
Yeah.
Then